Hello, everyone. Welcome to Win, Lose, or Cry Maple Leafs podcast. As you can see, the three amigos are back. Everyone's back.
We are.
Yeah.
We
We ride. So, as everyone probably knows, not a lot of Leafs talk. Going to be a bit more of a relaxed fit episode. You put your comfy pants, your fat turkey pants on. I'm eating more turkey tomorrow, so I really need to put them on. I'm feeling it. So we're just gonna
I'm turkeyed out.
You're turkeyed out? Well,
I'm turkeyed out.
I get lamb tomorrow, and I gotta tell you one thing before we get started. So my fiance is Serbian, and last year they pulled a prank on me, and they cook a lamb, and they're like, "Oh, it's a delicacy. You know what you have to try?" I'm like, "What?" The spinal cord. They took, yeah.
I
They-
believe you.
they played-
I wouldn't eat it.
They played a joke.
No.
It was last year. It was the first Christmas I was with her 2 years ago, and I was like trying to impress them, right? I'm like, I'm cultured. I'll eat it, and they gave me this white. It looked like an udon noodle, like the thick noodles. It looked like one of those, and I bit into it, and red flag should have been no one else had any. So it was like this big. It's like a little guy, and I just took a bite, and it was just like mush, and it was bad. Probably should have put out a little warning for anyone who's squeamish, but whatever. If you puked and you're listening, thank you. You love us.
Yes.
But yeah, I took a little bite, and then everyone started laughing, and then they told me, yeah, none of us have even tried that.
That's like the story of the hunter when the son shoots the deer for the first time. They're like, "Oh, by the way, you have to drink the blood of the deer." And they make the person drink it. It's like, wow, you actually did it. What's it taste like? Oh, you know what it tastes like. No, we don't know what it tastes like.
And they have the gall to tell me this year, oh, well, this year we're making lamb brains. You have to try it. It's the best. I'm like, I'm not falling for that again. No. And they're all like, oh, it's
I'm
the...
the one with the plate out.
Yeah.
They have
You all go first.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. They're like, oh, it's like meat. It's like cheese that tastes like meat. I'm like, yeah, cool. Not having it. They all want me to do it, and I'm like, no.
Nope. Last one to eat.
Yeah, not. I need to have a lot of alcohol in me before I do that again. I'll tell you that much.
There you go.
Anyways, we
He's
should.
There you
sober,
go.
so he's watching people.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's dive into this. So I
Yeah.
think we only have a couple topics this week. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty relaxed week. There's a lot going on with COVID right now, and I do not want to dive into it because
No.
everyone's talking about it and everybody is tired of it.
I'm back to pandemic
So-
drinking.
Yeah, well, there you go. I know. So that there are a couple things that I do want to touch on quick though. One being the big one, the World Juniors being canceled.
Yeah.
The announcement went out. Was it yesterday? It went out.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Around the same
World
time.
Juniors
Was this?
have been canceled.
That's a shame.
I have honestly, I didn't watch any of the Canadian games, and I don't even know why they were canceled. I'm assuming because teams can't play.
They had to postpone a couple games. There was only at the time there was only 6 cases, but even as early as this morning after the cancellation, there was 10 more confirmed cases. So if they kept playing, it's Omicron, right? It was gonna spread
like wildfire. Well, that's
It's just unfortunate.
Well, the main issue was this year they didn't do a hard bubble for the hotels.
No.
So the players were in hotels with just random visitors. So I believe it was a Slovakian goalie tweeted today that they would go down to this restaurant attached to the hotel. They're sitting there with a packed restaurant of just complete randoms.
yeah.
So they did the right job of making sure that the players were safe in their own hotels, or making sure there was 2 hotels for just the players themselves.
Nope.
So it wasn't run very well, and I don't want to get into too much of it because it's another slippery slope, but I think also there's a bit of a political thing with how the women's U18 was canceled, and there's
don't like
backlash
that.
there.
I didn't like that.
No, if you're going to do the World Juniors, you have to do that tournament. And back in the summer, if you're going to do the men's World Championships, you have to do the women's.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of political backlash I think they received at the same time that drove them a little bit more. But when you have Team USA that has both goalies test positive 24 hours before the second game, that becomes an issue, and I can see why they took the steps to go where they did.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
And you know what? Like, it makes sense. The fact that they didn't do a hard bubble like the NHL did in that playoffs, and
Or
the
last
one
year.
article, the one or two articles that I did read today, I think it was on Sportsnet. I read teams only had to quarantine for 2 days once they arrived in Canada.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like sure, yeah. Like, at least make it 5 days. Like, they arrived December 15th. They could have quarantined till the 20th. Tournament starts on the 26th. Like, and they should have done a hard bubble, especially with, like you said, canceling the women's. Like, if you're gonna cancel it for COVID and you're gonna allow this one to run the World Juniors at the highest possible, like, security level, essentially, where the only people in the hotel are teams, no fans. Like, do whatever you can to make sure the tournament happens. And it feels like they did whatever they could to make the tournament happen, but not prolong the tournament, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they brought teams in early. They made them do that quick little quarantine. But the moment they started playing, cases went up. Because fans were there, like you said. Anybody was in the hotels with them, so like, you had to expect it coming. They should have done a hard bubble like the NHL did in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, people have got, and I get it. Everyone's sick of this. Everyone's sick of it. I'm sick of it. You're sick of it. I'm assuming the guys that run these leagues that have to do all these extra precautions more than us are sick of it. It costs them money. It costs them time. But if you know how contagious it is, so if you get lazy on it, don't be surprised that it's not going to work, right? Like, like I hate cooking, right? I mean, I love cooking, but I hate cleaning up afterwards. If
Me too.
If I instead go from cleaning the dishes to just leaving them in the sink, the next day I'm going to be pissed off because it's not going to be clean. It's like the same thing. If you go from doing all these things to make sure everyone's safe and bubbles and stuff and everyone's safe, and then the next time, you know what? Just little quarantine, it'll be the same. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to work as well.
It's not.
No.
And especially with how contagious it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. They definitely could have handled it differently. I'm sad to not see it play out. I mean, like I said, I didn't watch any of the two games. I know that Owen Power looked really good the first game with the hat trick.
Yeah.
And is it Connor Bedard?
Connor Bedard.
Connor Bedard.
Bedard, yeah, setting. Brian, I think you were mentioning it. What was the record he hit?
He got 4 goals in a game, and it's the first person in that tournament to do it since Gretzky in 1977.
As a 16-year-old.
As a 16-year-old, sorry.
As a 16-year-old,
Yeah,
he did it.
since 1977.
Although it was against Austria. Oh, I'm going to look something up here for fun.
And-
Although against Austria, he still did it.
Yeah, it's Austria, but Canada and other teams have played against Austria since 1977, and no one's done it.
Exactly.
There have been bad teams.
Well, and the nice thing is, too, is like the second one that Bedard got was a nice passing play with, I think it was Jake Neighbors, back and forth. Or it could have been Cooley, who was the winger that he was broke in with. But the third goal that he scored was just an absolute beauty. He cut through the slot, kind of very similar to how Matthews does it, where he does the bit of like the toe drag in to the release, and he fired it top shelf just underneath the bar while using the screen, so the goalie had no chance. Where it's a nice heads-up play by him. And then earlier, I think it was either just after he scored his first, he had a chance for a second goal, so he could have had 5 in that game, where he made an unbelievable move where pulling the puck through his feet in a weird angle. It's hard to explain through a podcast, but he was able to sidestep the defense at the same time, and it just, unfortunately, with the way the move went, he got a little too close and tight, and when he got the shot off it, I think it was Summers, or if that's the proper way of pronouncing the Austrian name, was able to get it with his glove. But the kid is just absolutely phenomenal, and he was showing it from the first shift he had against the Czechs in the first game, and he just ramped right up. Mm-hmm. And if the tournament kept going, he would have been in the top 6, no problem.
Oh yeah, easily.
And he would have had first power play minutes hands down as the tournament went on. Like he's
Wow.
he's better than Shane Wright, who is the consensus first overall this year.
Yeah.
He's
And
gonna be
Shane
fun.
Wright's what, 17 or 18?
He's technically 17 right now. That's why he was wearing a cage at the tournament.
But come
it'll-
draft day, he'll be 18.
Yeah, you can still be drafted as a 17-year-old as long as you turn 18 before, I think it's October 1st, in your draft year.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I can't see. I was trying to look it up quickly. I can't find. I wanted to see what the final score of the Gretzky game was when they won, when he got his hat trick.
Yeah.
But I can't find it here. He got 17 points in the tournament. That's all I can see.
Oh,
Which is
when he went to that tournament, I forget who the player was. Gretzky walked into the room as a 16-year-old, and he looked at the coach and said, "This is the guy you brought over to fill in the roster spot." He came in as a beanpole, and no one thought, "Oh, this kid can't do anything." But he just ripped apart the tournament.
a boy man. That's what they referred to him in the article. A boy man suited up. Yeah, with 17 points. Wow.
Well, the shocking thing is because of how Owen Power did the first game and how Bedard did the second. The big name of the team, Mason McTavish, who's a Peterborough product right now in the O, but drafted by Anaheim. I think he's put up 6 points in 2 games, if I remember correctly. You don't hear his name because he's been playing so well, but you have all this other talent around him that has been phenomenal, and that team was a juggernaut, and I don't think it's like a homer, but they probably easily would have taken the gold medal in this tournament.
And that's the thing about the World Juniors. I think I was listening to, I think it was the Steve Dangle podcast, and I only listened to like the first 10 minutes of it. They kind of did like a World Juniors intro thing, and I only listened to a few minutes of it. But essentially they said like the World Juniors to most of the world doesn't mean anything. To Canada, it's everything. Like if we are expected to win every year, and if we don't, it's like a national pride at this point. Yeah. Yeah. So, and like I said, personally, I feel bad saying it. I'm not one to watch
the juniors.
World Juniors. I don't know why. I watch the gold medal game, but other than that, I don't really watch it. I just never do, and I really should.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a little bit different since my brother is the play-by-play guy for the Hamilton Bulldogs, as you can see by the apparel I'm wearing. I have a little bit more of an investment in like the OHL, or we'll just say the CHL across Canada than the NCAA, because a lot of these guys bounce back and forth, and the draft rankings, and he doesn't shut up about these guys, so it just sticks in my head. So I have to watch to see if he's telling me the truth or if he's blowing smoke.
So you're a lot more invested in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, one of the other articles I read today, I only read the headline of it quickly, but it was talking about, with the World Juniors being canceled, what's going to happen with players being sent over to the Olympics. And I know you guys touched on the Olympics quite a bit last podcast, but what I want to ask is, should they just cancel the Olympics this year and move them to next year?
Yes.
There's two arguments to that, Brandon. There's two arguments. What's your opinion?
Yeah. I say yes. Just there are a couple different things. I'm not gonna there's a political side of it. I'm not gonna go into that. But the way that the Omicron variant is so highly transmittable, and the way that you have to do the quarantining if you do test positive over there, I think it makes no sense for this whole thing to go on. On a hockey side, I think they should. I know McDavid kind of touched on it as well. That he wants a best-on-best tournament. They should move to a World Cup of hockey, so then that way the NHL and the players have more say in how the tournament's run, where it's put. But in the Olympics in general, for this kind of thing, I say it should be canceled and moved.
I don't know if
maybe a year or 2 years.
I don't know if they'll do World Cup because these players want to go to the Olympics and represent their country, and it's different. It's do they get an Olympic gold medal?
Though.
They don't get an Olympic gold medal. They don't win gold for their country. They win. It's different.
I think the Olympics is just outdated, and technically it's meant for amateur athletes. When you send professionals over, they're not amateurs. So you have to play that. So that's why I say World Cup. You're wearing make it so you're wearing the normal jerseys that you would send to the Olympics. None of this weird design North American jersey Team Europe crap. Don't get me wrong, those jerseys look sick, but make it like it's like the Olympics, like that. They build that prestige, build that feeling around it, so then that way the tournament for the Olympics, if you still want to send hockey, then send your World Juniors or start picking guys from the NCAA, from the European teams that don't have the normal shot. Like, just do something a little different on that side of it.
I agree with you, Chase. The only thing is, it's like I said before, the players probably wouldn't. The players that are, Ovechkin, McDavid, Crosby, Matthews, those guys that would be in the Olympics wouldn't want to do it because they'd be like, well, I want to play for my country in the Olympics.
So,
McDavid said he wants best on best tournament.
Yeah,
so
he wants to go to the Olympics.
But best on best tournament is not necessarily the Olympics. You can make it World Cup. That's best on best.
So this is what I want. Two points here. One about best on best. One about the Olympics. Brandon, the Olympics are so prestigious because they've been going on for so long, and it's tradition at this point.
Yes, and that's why
if they were to start a World Cup, which I still like the idea of the Olympics for hockey.
Yeah.
But if they were to start a World Cup next year, let's say 2022,
I'd be watching it.
I would too.
Yeah.
And if they continued it every 4 years, and were able to eventually build it to the point where it's at the same height as the Olympics, why would somebody want to go to the Olympics if you can go to the World Cup?
Well, that's
like they need to build that prestige.
Yeah, but
by doing it once isn't going to do that.
Yeah.
They're going to need to continuously do it every 4 years or every 2 years, and continue to build this prestige to the point where the generation after Owen Power is coming in and they are retiring with World Cup gold medal. And that is as prestigious as an Olympic gold medal.
You're absolutely correct. And I am not being like, if they're not going to the Olympics, I wouldn't watch a World Cup. No. I would watch it because I want to watch best and best hockey. I'm saying, as a player, though, that's a hard sell. You know what I mean?
For this generation.
Yeah, for this generation, if you're starting it next year, and you say you'll probably have to do something with the CBA to make them not, because in the CBA right now they're supposed to go, and that was a big sticking point for the CBA was that they wanted to go to the Olympics.
It was changed though because of something to do with the scheduling.
No, they in the CBA this year they're supposed to go to the Olympics.
Yes, they were, but there's a clause in it that if something happened to the regular NHL season, they were allowed to back out.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just pulled the plug for fun. It was in the agreement that if something happened to the schedule, they could back out.
No,
something happened to the schedule and they were able to back out.
So I know that.
They were allowed to go, but
my point is that it's that important to the players that they wanted it in the CBA, and it was a sticking point. That was my point.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So if you want to take that away and you're like next year, okay, now you argued about this to get it in the CBA, but next year, no, we're doing World Cup. You're not going to the Olympics ever again. I don't think they're going to be happy with that.
They won't be happy, but when you do the World Cup, the NHL runs it, which means there's more revenue for each of those players because you're selling player jerseys, you're selling that kind of stuff. So you're feeding more money in, so that means there's going to be less money that could potentially be put through escrow, so they could get more money off their name in that sense. So that's where you'd have to play it off, so then that way you're not necessarily like, we're ripping your dreams apart, but this is what we can do for you if we start moving to this scenario.
But there are some players... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, let's talk about a World Cup that's run by the NHL. How many full teams can you make out of NHL players?
Well, that's the thing. Like
Team Canada.
Team USA.
Right? You can. There's Team USA.
Russia.
Yeah.
Probably Russia.
Sweden. There's a bunch of Swedish players.
Can you do a full roster?
Probably. I can't name a roster off the top of my head.
Let me ask this question. Can you do a full roster that can compete against Canada?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Swedes? Oh, for sure.
The Swedes, yes. The Russians, yes.
You're telling me you put Team Sweden against Team Canada. Canada wouldn't stop them.
Okay, there's a good...
But that's the same thing with the Olympics.
It is. So here's my theory that I wanted to touch on, Chase, when you talk about best on best. This is what I want to see, which will never ever happen, but I think it would be interesting. I want to see a divisional best on best tournament.
Beast. Do you want to hear?
That's what I want to see. I want to see the Atlantic Division versus the Metropolitan Division versus the Central versus the Pacific. Have
And not
4
like
teams, or I know you don't like Chase. You add a 5th team into the mix of under a certain age, like a 23 and under.
If you were to do it that way, where you're gonna do like Central Pacific, I could get behind the like that 23 and under. But when you're doing it on like an international stage, I don't like that.
No, but if you do it as a divisional thing, you do 5 teams. So this is what I want to see. I want to see 5 teams. The first team allowed to pick their team is the under 23 team. They go first. They can pick any player across all 4 divisions to comprise their team. Next, each division has to go through and pick their team based on the 8 teams that are in their division. So it's equally spread across each division because every team has 8 teams. Or every division has 8 teams. Right? So now you can be seeing Kucherov play beside Matthews.
It's not bad.
Right?
But then again,
something like,
but then you're not getting your what they want is country versus country thing.
Yes, I get that. But that's not what they're talking about, Brandon. What did Connor McDavid say? He wants a best on best tournament. You know what's a best on best tournament out of the Metropolitan Division? Having Sidney Crosby at center with Ovechkin on the wing. Mm-hmm. That's a best on best tournament.
I agree, but a lot of players want to, like we said, they want to play for the country. So you're taking that away, and they're not going to want to do that.
And,
right?
And if I was an NHL player, I'd want to be playing for Team Canada. That's
right.
That's
the problem.
You're born and raised watching your favorite players play for your country. Yeah. And that's what I was talking about with Chase with the World Cup is if they started next year with a World Cup, the kids that are being born next year are raised watching their favorite players play for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Which means why they're not as attached. Like, we're attached to the Olympics because we saw Jerome McGinley and Sidney Crosby play for Team Canada, right? We saw all these massive players, Rick Nash, Steve Yzerman, they all played, all these greats played for Team Canada. The next generation can watch
Owen Power,
Owen Power, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon,
and
all play for Team Canada
in the World Cup.
The World Cup.
But how
meaning they have that attachment to the World Cup.
The problem
players of this generation right now are gonna fight it.
Yeah, the problem is it's in the CBA because they want to play for their country. You have to get them to agree to it, and I do not see that happening. I see if they force it, there's going to be it's going to be kind of like an all-star thing where if you don't want to do it, then you get a suspension, and you'll have people like Ovechkin be like, "Fuck you, give me a 5-game suspension. I'm gonna go play for Russia."
Okay, I have a question. The CBA, what's to say about 2026? They had it in the CBA agreement that in 2022 they were allowed to go. What's the agreement say about 2026?
I think the CBA.
I think it lasts past that. Doesn't it last past 2026, or is it up to 2026?
No, I think it comes up before 2026. I think they only do 4 years at a time. And they would have signed the last CBA in the off season that just passed.
Yeah. So
it should go to about 2025. Yeah. I could be off. I'm not saying that I know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't cover till 2026 because of the lockout that ended the one season completely. They put different points in place, so then that way they could keep revisiting it, so the players could make sure that they have the best lifestyle.
Hear me now. There's not a chance in hell they don't lose that without a fight, because they wanted it this year and they made a point like we're not signing this till we can go to the Olympics. They begrudgingly let them, and then they couldn't go.
No.
So I guarantee they're just going to be like, you either give us Olympics or we're just not playing. They're like the high paid guys or the big guys are just like, no, we're going.
Well, the high paid guys, man, probably won't be around the next Olympics.
Yeah.
No, like the
You got to think about it.
well, Matthews, Marner, McDavid,
Matthews, Marner,
Draisaitl.
your Ovechkin,
Oh,
Crosby,
your
they
Ovechkin's
won't be around.
no, but you have
Right?
all
Your
these
big players who have the most
Yeah.
say
your
won't be there.
no, your big players
And
that will
who
have
are-
the most say will be your Draisaitl's, your McDavid's, your Matthews, who have never gotten a
Or
chance to play in the Olympics. They haven't even had their
But
shot.
McDavid's already asked for a best on best tournament. That's,
Did-
that's what he's asked for.
He didn't say I want to represent my country. He said I want a best on best.
But he was
tournament.
referring to the Olympics as
He
the best on
was.
best tournament.
And that's probably what he meant.
Yeah.
You're
But-
absolutely right. That's definitely what
Yeah.
he meant. However, everyone's talking about a best on best
Mm-hmm.
tournament. And if it's this much of a fight to go to the Olympics, make your own.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
simple.
And you know what?
Right?
I
And
would
do
love
it-
that. I
do
don't
it
see
in
the
Vegas.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
Every year they put on the best show. They have the most
All
tourist
or-
I
attraction.
cannot wait for All Star Week. This is the first time I've been excited for All Star Weekend because
Yeah,
it's
I
going to
know.
be, and it might not even happen at this point.
When is it? It's February what?
Oh Jesus, I can look that up. Are you looking it up?
I'm honestly not excited. I don't really care about All Star Weekend.
I never have, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun this year because I'll actually do something.
Every year they put in new stupid skills tests. Like I want to go back to what we grew up in, where it was when you did the most accurate shot, you had to go like 4 for 4 to win, and then if you tied, they look at the timing. You had to do like the skating challenges. None of this sauce the puck from the third deck.
No,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
stupid.
And it's like
You know what I
stuff is-
want to? You know what I want to see for best?
BS.
You know what I want to see for best accuracy this year is if you remember your brothers Stag and Doe. Remember how they had
Like
dart poker?
Oh
No.
God, where you walked up and hit a full house on the first shot.
Yeah, I did do that. I automatically won the game. they had to erase my name from the scoreboard and give me a prize because no one would play the game 'cause I won. No, what
course,
I
I
want
would
to
keep
see,
mine running.
I want to see that though
Pucks.
in a accuracy competition.
That'd be fun.
We have a big like wheel with like different
Or
sections.
just
to get
give
through.
me like take the standard NHL size net, put plywood across the whole thing, cut out slots for all 52 cards, and give a player 5 pucks. You have 5 pucks to make the best possible hand you can.
Look, I could get behind that.
They're in Las Vegas, and
Yeah.
put them in a position where they can hit 4 aces and a king. Like, I want to see the best players hit shots the size of a card from 15, 20
Yeah.
feet away. Because you know
Top of
they
the
can
circle.
do them.
Top
That's
of the
what I
circle.
right in the slot there, right? So that's what I want to see. Like, it's Vegas. You got to take something that's this and how long does it take to shoot 5 pucks?
Not long.
Not long.
Right? That was the one big complaint about.
Oh, you're
the last
sitting
one.
there just, it's like
How
never
long?
ending.
Right? How
Yeah, but
you give a guy
35
5?
pucks, 40 seconds.
You give a guy 5 pucks, and he gets 6 seconds a puck. Right? That's 30 seconds. There you
Really
go.
do that much.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fire away. Here's your shots. There's what's on the board. Go.
Can-
You get 30 seconds to skate up and look at the board, analyze what you want to do. You get 30 seconds to shoot. Reset.
Go.
Next player.
Can you remember,
It's quick. It's easy.
can you guys remember the last notable thing you can remember from an All-Star game or an All-Star weekend? The last,
Shane Doan won the shootout competition. Now this Brand, do you know who Shane Doan is?
yes, I do. I'm just trying to remember what he did because I have a similar one.
It was a shootout. It was back in the day when they did an actual shootout competition,
Yeah.
not like the
Yeah.
for fun. Oh, Vetchin comes down with 2 sticks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. You had 3 goalies. You had I think 20 or 15 players,
Those are
and
good.
it was try to score, and the goalies will try and stop you. And they went
Yeah, it was-
round after round after round, and a lot of players were eliminated the first round and the second, and it got down to the point where I think I don't know who the shooter was, but it was Shane Doan and 3 goaltenders, and I believe one of the goaltenders was Tim Thomas
Oh,
for
wow.
Boston. And in the final round, it was Shane Doan and Tim Thomas.
This
Shane Doan
might-
was shooting first. he came down and he scored. And every goal, they would alternate goalie. So when his shot went in, they alternated to Tim Thomas coming in. And it was a Boston shooter up next. And I'm not going to say he let him score, but it was the easiest goal of the whole shootout. And I was pissed.
Oh, I do remember that.
He's not a shootout kind of guy, and the fact that he was still in it was incredible.
I do remember that.
This is nearing the end of his career, too. And I was mad because he finally scored, because they went like round after round without scoring, and then finally he scored, and Tim Thomas was like, oh, no. And I was furious. And then Shane Doan went down, got the goal, got my heart, and he won the tournament. Or he won the competition. And at that point, I fell in love with him. Wonderful man. From Calgary, in case you're wondering.
I think the last one I remember is actually from one of the joke shootouts. And it's Subban putting on the Yager hair and the Yager helmet.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny. That's the last kind of big thing I remember.
Brent Burns putting on the Chewbacca.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That one was good.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So the one that sticks out, I think, for me is Chara breaking the record.
Yeah.
For the hardest shot.
So that one kind of bugged me.
Why?
I'm super glad he got the hardest shot. Super glad he got it. What bugged me is he wasn't invited back the next year.
Yeah, that's really stupid. I don't like that.
So here's I had actually, thank you, James, for queuing me up on this one, because my dad, my brother, and I, we have this conversation every year. Do you think, so like, obviously, like, we can't bring back, like...
Yes.
I think,
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes right now.
I agree.
If you win hardest shot...
You come back.
2022, but you're not in the actual All-Star game, should you be invited back just for the skill shot to defend your title?
100%.
Not even the reigning champion, the record holder, right? Because it's one thing if Ovechkin goes this year and gets hardest shot, but doesn't break a record, right? He's the reigning champion, but it's one thing to be the reigning champion and the way he did it.
Yeah.
He broke the record. Shea Weber walked up, broke the record. Chara walked up, broke the record again.
Yeah, that was good.
And then next year, that hard shot was mess.
It was insane. And then the following year, not even invited.
Yeah,
and then
so
Shea Weber
stupid.
walks up and takes the win. I was furious that he wasn't invited. But yes, I totally agree with you. If you are the reigning champion, yes, you should be invited.
Okay, I like it.
Man, the NHL really has to work on being fun.
Honestly, that's why I'm excited it's in Vegas.
Yes, I think they'll actually have some fun competitions.
It's probably too late, but please add in poker. Please add in accuracy poker.
If they don't have some kind of poker thing, that's crazy.
Sorry?
They might have accuracy poker, but they'll probably have some type of poker
Absolutely.
somewhere.
Well, I don't care what it, but like something, because like that would it's fun, it's easy, and it's right there.
Yeah.
Well, I know I shouldn't make this joke, but I bet you somewhere Evander Kane will be in the building on the bench with deck cards. I want to gamble.
He's just sitting there gambling from the top deck.
Too soon?
Nah, it's fine.
All right, so that's what I've got about the Olympics and the All-Star. I know we kind of went way off topic there, but I don't know if it'll happen.
There's no right or wrong answer for how they should handle that scenario.
They're gonna make a decision, and I wish it was 2023. That would be ideal.
When it's
That's what the Summer Olympics did. But on the flip side of that, the athletes have been preparing for 4 years to get their body into a peak state right now. Yeah. All that work they have to redo to get themselves in a peak state next year. So it's too late to cancel it. It should have been canceled back in like July.
Yeah.
No, I fully...
Or postponed a year, sorry.
I have a big thought on the whole pandemic, but again, we don't want to touch on that because we can go to an entire different wormhole, and it's not worth diving into.
Well, while we're on the topic of the pandemic, taxi squads for the NHL. I need some help understanding this.
Okay.
How do taxi squads work? So I'll tell you where my brain worked the moment I heard about it. Okay, if someone
come in a yellow car and front door.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fancy, so I got a black car limo.
Oh, okay. I like it.
So how do taxi squads work? Can you explain that to me?
I haven't read because it's a little different than last year. Because last year, what they were able to do is that I think the numbers sat again. I could be. I know I'm not exact on the number, but the team was able to carry an additional, I think, 7 players. So it was 6 skaters and a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
That did not affect your cap.
Okay.
So in that way, if there was a COVID issue, you could have your 7 best guys ready to go. So that way you're not going to have to miss games, or you're not going to be necessarily depleted too bad so you're not competitive. I know what they're going to be doing is, I know all teams are going to be able to carry a 3rd goalie.
Mm-hmm.
That does not count against the cap. And then there is something to do with the eligibility in it would something to do with testing as well. But I think each team's going to be able to carry almost about the same amount of players, or at least have
6 players,
3 forwards without cap compliance and a goalie.
Okay.
So you're going to have 4. So this way, in case you do have a couple of cases, you can bring players in, so that way you're not like, I forget what team it was just before they made the pause. Was it the Islanders? When they played the Bruins, they were pretty much the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. They were pretty much.
Oh, really?
They were missing 13 of the regular skaters. They just brought up their minor. Like, it was something stupid like that. They want to keep the games competitive and exciting, so the taxi squad's there to insulate issues. Plus, now if you're asymptomatic, you only have to quarantine for 5 days. I'm pretty sure the NHL rolled that over as well.
Okay.
So you might miss 2 games. Knock on wood is the most, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So then you can get like the Leafs. Let's say Marner goes down. You go into a stretch. You don't have to lose him for 2 weeks or 3 weeks because of anything. He can jump right back in.
Jump right back in.
So they're trying to make it a little bit easier for players to get back in, because if they're asymptomatic, they're healthy enough to play. It's just you don't want them to spread it to anyone else.
And what I think I heard is that if a player can only go on the taxi squad if he's played 25% of the NHL games or less.
I believe so.
I think that. So here's my question. This is where my brain went.
Okay.
Less than 25 games played, you're allowed to go on the taxi squad. If you're on the taxi squad, you do not count against the salary.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
How many games has Kucherov played?
He's played, I believe, less
How many games has Jack Eichel played?
He's played 0.
Yes.
So this is a blessing.
This is what I'm wondering. This is where my head went. Is if a player, like 2 spectacular players, have less than 25 games played, technically they can play up to 25 games, or up to 25% of the games without affecting the team's salary if they are on the starting roster.
Kucherov has played 3 games.
Yeah.
That's it?
So
How many Braden Point played?
Braden Point?
He was taken out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but he's back, and he scored, I think, 2 goals in his return.
Oh, right. He did just come back. That's right.
Yeah, but how many games has he played?
Yeah, but I see where your mind's going.
17.
But when you're sitting there with a Kucherov or an Eichel, are you really going to hold him out for that many games to just keep him on the taxi squad?
If you're Vegas and you can't...
Who's the number 1 team? Here, let me ask you this. Atlantic Division, who's number 1? In case you're wondering, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Well, I was going to say that. I wanted to say Florida because I like Florida, but I know it's Tampa.
No, Florida dropped to 3rd, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Number 1 team in the Pacific Division, Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, but they're only up by 1 point on Anaheim.
Well, okay. So let's say Anaheim wins the game. Woohoo! Now they're behind. They still have 6 points on the 3rd place team.
Yeah, but also too, what Vegas has now got. I hate to say this because I love the guy. Pacioretty just had successful wrist surgery, and he's
I
out
know.
indefinitely.
I know.
So that opens up a chunk of cap.
Yeah, I just saw that article.
I bet you he doesn't return, I don't know, shockingly at the end of April. When the playoffs start. So, look at that. They have to move like $4 million instead of like $8.5.
Yeah, which kind of throws a couple things in my brain off. With that happening, that kind of throws a few things off. So that was my one theory on the practice squads is, are we going to see the Tampa Bay Lightning carry Kucherov on the taxi squad without affecting the cap until the NHL playoffs?
I think they will.
There's probably some unwritten rule where it's like
hope
a
so.
I don't think so, man. The NHL doesn't seem to think these things out.
There was a cap limit on the taxi squad.
Well, yeah,
like,
but
if a player's over $2 million, he can't be on.
I'd say like
the
5.
whole thing is a lot. The cap.
What 5 million players in the AHL, Brandon?
There's none.
What 5? The taxi squad is only players you're calling up in desperation.
Oh, I thought you were like overall.
No, like individual players.
I thought we were like
Like,
just
that's
AHL shit. Like, oh.
Well, because the Leafs could sign a $2 million guy and throw him down to the minors.
Yeah.
Right? They have the money to throw around there.
Yeah. They will have to clear
that's
waivers, though.
With the whole taxi squad thing, though, it's designed for more of an AHLer. Like, that's how they structured it.
Yep.
So, like, again, I go back to the whole thing. Like, if you have a Kucherov that is ready to go back in the lineup, you're not holding him out. You're getting him in because he makes your team better.
Why? If you're in first, why?
It's the mentality of coaches and GMs.
Dude, look at last year. They sat him, and they still won the Stanley Cups.
Well, that's also... I don't want to go into my whole...
I know. But realistically, what I said at the beginning of the year is that team can lay off the gas pedal and still win the playoffs. And here they are, not even laying off the gas pedal without their star player, and they're still in first place.
Yeah, I know.
So that team is destined for the top 4.
3-peat.
Or
not
the Leafs are. It's one of the
You
other.
don't think so?
I have a bet with James. $50.
You do have a bet. I can pull it up and tell you what it is.
I said they won't even make the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
That was my no, it was semis.
It was semis?
It was semis, because top 4.
Okay, trust you. I trust you.
Top 4. Brandon bet me that the Leafs wouldn't make the second round, which, if they're playing against Tampa, might come true.
Yeah.
I might lose that bet.
Yeah.
I didn't think Tampa and Florida were going to be powerhouses.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a little scary. It's a little scary.
Yeah, they're not making the second round this year.
Well, they could.
They could. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, if they come... So how does it work? In that division, if it were to end right now...
The
Lightning in first, Maple Leafs second, Panthers third, Red Wings fourth.
Lightning plays... Yeah, and then Lightning plays Red Wings.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So they could beat the Panthers.
They could beat the Panthers.
And they could beat the Red Wings. I just don't think... I personally don't think they'll beat the Lightning. I think it'll go Game 7.
I think what's going to happen is, because if you can see, Boston's got 4 games in hand on the Leafs, right? And they're down... Well, they're
12 points.
Whew.
That's what... Yeah. So they can win all 4 games, and they're still only at 38 points.
Yeah.
They're still 4 points behind the Leafs.
But I think they'll squeak in. I think they'll get past the Red Wings.
I don't think the Red Wings will maintain. I do think
I think it's gonna be Lightning, Bruins, and Leafs, Panthers for the first round.
Lightning, Bruins, Leafs, Panthers. Yeah. I think Leafs are coming first. I'm still standing by that.
It's gonna be close. Do you want them to, James? Do you want them to come first and play the Bruins? Really? I don't.
Yes.
Redemption.
Okay, yeah, slay the dragon.
Actually, Tuukka Rask just came back, so I don't know about that.
To be honest, and
I don't know.
I know I've said this to you guys before about Tuukka. I don't think, especially now too, as he's getting older, I don't think he's the goalie to get you to the Stanley Cup Finals and win it.
He's done it before.
He's done it for.
He hasn't.
Oh, Tim Thomas was the when they won.
Thomas won it for them, and then the year that they made the semifinals in that shortened season against the Blackhawks, Tuukka fell apart.
Okay, you know what though? That 2013 Chicago team was the best hockey team I've ever seen.
Don't get me wrong, Chicago was a solid team, and like I'm not going to take that away from them. But if you go back and watch those final 2 games of the series, there's goals that Tuukka let in where. How you guys kind of said it too about Freddie Anderson against the Bruins.
Yeah.
You can't have it go in. If Tuukka stops those, that series is completely different.
That Chicago team versus that Boston team were two different. That Chicago team in 2013 was an absolute dominant. I forget what the record was, but it was
stupid.
It was that was a shortened season. I want to say it was like
48-game season.
It was what?
48-game season because they had the lockout that got to Christmas.
I want to say they were like 36, 8 and 6 or something like that. 38, 8 and 6. It was ridiculous. That was the year that they went like 18 and 0 and 2 or 18 1 and 2 to start the season.
Yes.
It was absolutely insane. I remember that. I've never seen a team start that strong until the Maple Leafs had that run this year. But other than that, like that team was a powerhouse all throughout. And they won the Stanley Cup because of it. Their third one. They won their third Stanley Cup that year.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I mean, we just talked about Boston. Brandon, you want to go into
Brad Marchand?
And
so, stay off Twitter, boys and girls. That's what I've been learning lately. Twitter's not a great place, but it has a lot of little tidbits. So Brad Marchand, after the whole World Juniors cancellation, Olympic cancellation, Taxi Squad reintroduction, so he tweeted, guys, never tweet when you're angry.
That's the best tweet.
I mean, for reading, yes, but putting out yourself, no. I mean, I probably have some pretty bad ones from like 2013 and stuff like that when the Leafs lost. I'm pretty sure I got some pretty bad tweets.
Yes.
But so here we go. This is from Brad Marchand's Twitter directly. The NHL and the NHLPA can change the rules of the CBA to add a taxi squad so that they don't miss any games and don't lose any money, which is essentially what they did. Which has already been agreed upon that the players will pay back in escrow until the owners are made whole from what they have lost during this pandemic, regardless of how many games are missed. Yet they can't do a taxi squad during the Olympics so that they can honor the agreement they made so the NHL players can go. Please tell me that's not bullshit. And sorry, bad word. And for all of you who want to pipe back about forfeiting pay while being gone, yeah, not a problem. Let the players make their choice. So he's pretty much saying they've given players. They're saying players have to play in the NHL, and we're making these taxi squads so that it's possible for them to play. But we're not gonna. But we're gonna change the rules to do that. But we're not gonna change the rules to follow through an agreement we've already made with you because we don't make money on that. It's a business decision. I kind of get where he's getting at because it's kind of a slimy business decision where it's like, we'll change the rules to make us money, but we'll not change the rules to honor an agreement we've made. It's like, it's impossible to do. We won't do it.
So I get where he's coming from being mad and upset with that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if a player gets COVID in the NHL, they're out for 10 days, now 5 if you're asymptomatic. Mm-hmm. 5 days is not 5 weeks.
I agree.
Right, and so I get why the NHL did it.
It's a business decision, and I get it.
It is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I agree with what Marchand said. They should have left it up to the players.
Yeah, they made an
agreement. If the players wanted to go, and they would openly forfeit their salaries,
which they will, which they would have.
Let them go. Let them quarantine for 5 weeks, and let them come back 0 pay. They walked in knowing that was the circumstance. Mm-hmm. That's what I think should have happened.
And they had agreed on that.
That is what they agreed on, except for the little clause that said if there's a disruption to the schedule, they can pull from the Olympics, which is what happened, which is what they did.
Yes.
Right? And which the players agreed to.
Yes.
Now, when they agreed to it, they never would have known what was going to happen. However, they did agree to, if there was a big issue with the schedule, they will be able to pull out of the Olympics. So, as mad as they can be, they did sign on to it. They did agree to it.
But the thing he's pissed off about is they're changing the CBA to suit their needs, but they're not changing the CBA to suit the players. Because they're not following the CBA to a T, right? What the thing is, in the CBA, they are allowed to go unless there was a act of God thing that affected the schedule, which happened, right?
COVID.
So they followed the CBA there. However, there's no such thing as a taxi squad or anything in the regular CBA. It's just cap. So they made a change there so that they can keep playing the season to keep accumulating money and let the season go on. So he's pissed that. So you make a change there, but you won't make a change here to fulfill our agreement.
So here's my question to Marchand: is they made this they made this change in the CBA to allow teams to play with a full and healthy roster, which the Boston Bruins have not been lately because they've been down players. And I know they've been down Bergeron for a long time, right? I have him in fantasy and I've been hurt. But Boston's a team that was hit pretty hard and they had to play short players. They've lost 6 of their last 6 games. Like, I get his argument, but at the same time, they made this change so that we can still have a competitive league and continue the NHL. That's why the change was made, right? And they made the change last minute because they wanted to withhold making that change.
Yeah.
But it was clear, without adding a taxi squad, they would have continued to postpone games to the point where the season would have ended in September or October 2022.
Yeah. Sorry, Chase, go ahead.
So the other thing too is the NHL and NHLPA, that means the Players Association, agreed on the change for the taxi squad. So Marchand can make all the comments he wants, and I understand his frustration. So I'm not going to argue against him per se, but the comments he made is if the NHLPA has agreed to the taxi squad, then he doesn't really have anything to argue about because it's a business decision. And in turn, this makes the other thing too is this going to make him more money in the long haul because now he's playing more games, getting his full salary, and there's going to be more revenue built into the league. If you go over into the Olympics and something happens, you're out money. So this is the whole thing. Like, they're looking at this as a business where nowadays, because of COVID, guess what? A lot of that whole Olympic stuff or any of the side note stuff that the NHL wants to do is technically on the back burners because it's business centered and this is the way we're going to move. The minute the NHLPA signed off on having a taxi squad, any player that complains about a taxi squad but you can't go to the Olympics has now, in my opinion, lost the rights to argue about it because you're part of the PA and the majority of the league voted to have the taxi squad.
Well, that does. No, I disagree with that because if you're part of the PA and you make a vote, if you voted against it, why can't you be pissed off that your vote was not the one that got it right? It's like people. That's like saying people who voted. If I don't know much about. Yeah, if you vote NDP and NDP doesn't get elected, you're not allowed to get pissed off because you're a part of the election. That makes no sense.
But the majority right now it looks.
Yeah,
like
the majority.
All the teams voted yes. So like until I see the teams that said yes or no, right now it looks.
Why can't Marchand be pissed off if he's one of the no's though?
He can. You know what? No, he has every right to.
Yeah.
If he voted, I do not want this, and everybody outvoted him, he has the right to be upset. Yeah. He's in the wrong. Yeah. But he has the right to be upset.
Yeah.
True. But when the PA steps up and you have the majority of the league that says, okay, we need a taxi squad, then you have to look at it as, okay, listen, like, I guess I'm frustrated, but don't call out the league for making the adjustments when the PA steps up and says, no, this is what we need to do.
I think he's more...
And that could be your team rep as well. That said, no, okay, let's do this.
I think he's more pissed off that it's a very money decision rather than for the players. That's what I'm seeing, because for people like him, he probably wants to go to the Olympics more than he wants to finish off a season where they're not even in a playoff spot. Like, I don't think he doesn't have a gold medal, does he?
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
Does he? Oh yeah, he does.
2014.
Yeah, that's
2010.
right.
Two, right? Yeah,
2.
2010, 2014.
Yeah.
He's got everything. He's got a Stanley Cup, World Junior Gold, Olympic Gold.
I don't know why I thought
World Championship Gold, I'm pretty sure.
Well, just goes.
Yeah.
Well, their team's not in the playoffs right now. He's won his cup. He's a multi-millionaire. Maybe he probably wants to play for his country. It's like, there's a lot.
I would be pissed too.
Yeah, I think he has every right to be angry.
Outsider, I would be mad too if I wasn't.
Especially you had all year long thinking,
Stamkos.
I'm so pissed off for Steven Stamkos. That poor guy.
Brutal.
Yo, if I was him, I would pull
Anovi.
I'd retire today. Go to the Olympics, come out of retirement.
Can he just say, "Hey, I'm injured," and then not come back?
Mario.
No, 'cause if he's an NHL player, he's an NHL player. He can't go. If he retires, he's no longer an NHL player.
What can they do if he goes?
I know. And he came back. I know. Yeah. But I'm just saying, retire, go, wait your 5 weeks, come back. By the way, guys, I'm out of retirement.
What can the NHL
signing at $1 million a year?
what can the NHL do if somebody decides to just go and be like, no, I'm going to the Olympics? What can they do? Suspend them?
A lot with their contract.
If you have a high one of the better players, the NHL's like, I want this player in my league for jersey sales and ticket sales and stuff like that.
But they can sit there and go, okay, cool, your contract's
terminated. Your black.
Yeah, but if you're Steven Stamkos, if you're Alexander Ovechkin, do you care?
Probably not.
No.
Maybe.
But like, there's players that there's definitely a couple players that could have the option to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, but you're gonna have owners and GMs look at it. Okay, they're gonna look at it as you're selfish.
Yeah.
Which isn't. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the case, but they're gonna say you're selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You turn your back on your teammates, and yeah, you could bring us revenue, but I bet you we could go out and now draft someone that's gonna be young, that's going to be youthful, that's going to be trying, like the Michigan, the Zegras, that's going to spark more interest for the younger generation that's coming up, which they're trying to target now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a guy like Stamkos does it, then okay, great, good luck, but you'll be finding yourself playing in Sweden, Finland, Switzerland, Granted, though, those places are gorgeous, and I would love to play there.
He'll find an NHL. He would find an NHL.
You don't think someone would be willing to sign Steven Stamkos for like 1.5?
No, I don't think that. I think it's one of those cases where if you were to leave your team now to go to the Olympics, the GMs and owners right there's gonna be something that's dug deep in the fine print that pretty much blackballs them.
And there probably would be, or some sort of suspension handed.
Yeah, something stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, I got a question for you. This came by the other day. Actually, Teen sent it to me, and I want to ask you guys this question. So, in 2021, which player in the NHL has the most jersey sales?
Oh, that's easy.
Let's see if you can get this. Brandon?
It's Ovi. No, fuck. That's Google.
I have the top 5 here.
For
in 2021
for like since last January?
Since January 2021
Okay.
to yesterday. Which player has the most jerseys sold?
McDavid.
I was gonna say McDavid. But you know what? Wait. I was gonna say to be different, but
Go
if
ahead.
McDavid's the top, to be different, I think McDavid's the top. But to be different, I'm gonna say Ovechkin. Yeah, because of the way he's playing.
McDavid? Ovechkin only playing that way for the last 3 months.
Yeah, but he's still Ovechkin.
McDavid rounded out the top 5 at number 5.
Whoa.
Really?
Austin Matthews came 4th. Marc-Andre Fleury was 3rd.
Flower? Yeah, okay.
Crosby was 2nd.
Say
with
it's Campbell.
Ovechkin number 1.
Say it's really?
Alex Ovechkin has the most. Let me see here.
First guess.
Alexander Ovechkin was the top-selling player jersey for the calendar year 2021 across NHL Shop and Franchise Network.
No way!
And the funny thing, he's the most Googled player in 2021.
And he will be in 2022.
Because of the race for Gretzky's record.
Probably 2023.
It's because of the race.
And maybe 2024.
Only for the first half, though. Only for the first half. Once
Then
he hits
Bedard
it,
becomes
once he
second
hits
half.
it, he puts
Age
him back.
Age will hit like a truck.
Yeah.
He's on like
Yeah.
he's on a 5-year adrenaline high right now.
No kidding.
He's gonna
3.5,
he's
depending
gonna
on how many
hit
goals he puts in.
he's gonna beat his peak every year until he hits it, and then he's gonna get like 3 goals.
Hey, Russian machines don't break, in his
Just-
words.
He's good. Look how long Yager played.
Yeah.
He's still going. He's got
Yeah.
19
I know.
points, 28 games in the Czech league.
Good
My
for him, man.
goodness.
The guy's still
The
making
ageless wonder.
He's playing at the age
ageless
of
wonder.
50. I
Yeah.
hope someone, to go back just quickly to our last topic, I hope someone just randomly signs him for $750K, puts on the taxi squad.
Just
Leave
to
him.
have him.
Put him in a game for a game or two, just to have some fun with it.
Just so we can see the ageless wonder back in action.
Exactly.
I am down for, and you know what? I want it to be.
Sorry, say it
Because
again.
that's I want it to be Florida. The team
Yeah.
that signs him.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where he ended it, isn't it?
Yes.
Where he's playing like only playing home games for like the last 2 years, or something like that. Like
He played predominantly home games, or if they're away games, I think they had to be within like driving distance. Because
Yeah.
I don't really feel like it anymore.
yeah, he had the easiest contract. All right, I think that kind of wraps up our topics for this week. It's been pretty light week for us. I do want to bring up one thing.
Oh.
I alluded to it earlier when Chase brought up Pacioretty's wrist being injured. Because that throws a wrench into my theory. And my theory is that I talked about it weeks ago as a hint, and I think we could see Jack Eichel move to Denmark.
Okay.
Well,
Elaborate.
Sabicott,
So it is a bold statement, and Max Pacioretty going down with the wrist is going to throw it all off. Because that solves a lot of their cap issue. But, Brandon, let me ask you this. Prior to the season starting, what was the biggest fear in trading for Jack Eichel?
Well, his I guess because they weren't giving it's salary, and at the time they weren't giving out the medical history and like what exactly his problem was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he hadn't had the surgery done.
Right. Yes.
Which means they didn't know if it would be successful or not. Even though all the data points.
But no hockey player had had that surgery.
And no one knew. So imagine taking one of the two obstacles out of the way. His salary's still there.
His salary's still
but
there.
he's had the surgery. He walked out the same day as the surgery. He is skating now.
Mm-hmm.
look good.
He's looking good
Yeah.
on the ice, and he's looking to possibly come back in February.
He says he feels so much better.
So let me put
Let's-
this in perspective for you.
Okay.
What team did he go to, Brandon?
Vegas.
What team is hosting the All-Star game, Brandon?
Vegas.
What team could put an All-Star player on display and try and jack up the bid for him?
That's interesting.
I'm not saying, like I said, and he's a $10 million contract. He's a big, hefty contract with Pacioretty. I don't know what Pacioretty.
Pacioretty is $7 million flat.
So that frees up a lot of their issues right there, right?
Did they
Now,
say how long he's out?
If indefinite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. And so, and that throws a whole wrench. My whole theory was, you have this guy coming back he might not be invited to the All-Star, but I mean, Vegas is hosting it, Vegas is running it. Vegas could work Jack Eichel into the media somehow.
Oh, easily.
Pump up his name, maybe show a clip or two of him on the ice, maybe bring him on the ice, wave to the fans, do something quick, right? They can do what they can do what they want to boost Jack Eichel's name right before the trade deadline.
Especially if you think about it, at the All-Star game and the skills, he can do all the skills. If he's skating, he can do skills comps. Exactly. And the game itself isn't really a high contact. It's pretty casual.
It's no contact.
And even that, don't let him play the game.
But I'm just saying they could, and it's a way safer. It's a way.
Let's see. Fast he can skate. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like they could go in. He could go in, and that could be like, this is your first game. You don't have to worry about being checked into the boards. You can show off, and they're pretty much there to do fancy shit.
They can throw him on display.
Yeah.
You also have to remember too, it's a fan vote. So even though he could, let's say he's cleared the day before the All-Star break. If the fans vote for him, he goes.
He's there. So that's my big thing is, right? And now, like I said, with Pacioretty going out, that changes everything. But prior to Pacioretty going out, they had to free up $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why not look at a team like Arizona Coyotes, who have 3 first-round draft picks, 5 second-round draft picks, and Jacob Chitrin, who they're possibly looking to move, who is a top defenseman, only taking up $4.7 million.
Easily top 4.
The problem is, I believe, give me 2 seconds here.
And Jack Eichel is eligible for the taxi squad.
Yes.
Jack, I didn't realize Jack Eichel does not have a no movement.
No.
Because I was going to say he would veto that.
He wanted out of Buffalo any way possible.
Yeah, but now would he want to go to Arizona?
So the other part of the theory, looking at Marc-Andre Fleury, the former Vezina winning goaltender, found out he was traded to Chicago Blackhawks by Twitter.
Yeah.
Which tells me that
they don't care.
They don't care. So if you look at it from a business standpoint, Brandon, you're bringing in Jack Eichel when he's worth nothing. Not nothing. Kirby Dodge? That's who went there? No, it was Alex Tuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tuck to Buffalo, yes.
Yes. So
and Boston Krebs.
And a first rounder, I believe.
Conditional second, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I thought it was a first.
I don't think they got the first.
I thought it was conditional first.
Conditional first? I thought it was conditional second because Buffalo was jerking people around.
I don't remember.
I'll check.
But either way, what they got him for when he wasn't able to play, before he had the surgery, and when no one knew his history, now all that's out in the open. He's playing hockey. He's had the surgery successfully, and if they can display him, his value has shot up, and now they can drive a hard bargain and try and get exactly what they need.
They did get Vegas's first.
Yeah.
Conditional first.
Conditional because it's top 10 protected.
Yeah. Yes.
And they're the lower round pick as well. Second round pick in 2023.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah. So will it happen? Probably not. There is a high chance of it not happening. However, I don't know if I'm Vegas and they're sitting there tightening the cap.
They're not.
You know what?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Now that Pat, like, because you're right, hit that injury throws a wrench into it, because they are the team that is trying to win the cup every single year. And if you could afford Jack Eichel, they what is it right now? They have 6.
They're at $91 million.
Yeah, they have.
They count all the injured players.
They have $6 million cap space.
Now that's probably because Pacioretty just went on the IR.
It is.
And freed up 7.
Yeah, because they have Eichel on IR, Alec Martinez, Patrick Nolan, Jake Bishop. Oh, I don't think. Where is he? Where's Patches? No, Pacioretty's still on the roster. He's not on LTIR.
Because the wrist surgery just happened today, so it hasn't.
Oh, so
it
that
hasn't taken effect yet.
So that $7 million hasn't come off the cap yet. So they have more than enough. If they have $6 million now, that means 13.
Yeah, but once you pull all the other players off the IR, that number goes right back up.
Well,
they were tight to the cap.
Patrick Nolan. It's just Alec Martinez, because Patrick Nolan's only 1.2 and Jake Bishop's only 7.16.
Okay, so together let's call that $2 million.
Yeah.
How much is Martinez?
Martinez is the problem. He's 5.2. And
you're $2 million plus $5 million plus Pacioretty. You're over your cap.
You're only about 3. You're only $3 million over.
That's without Jack Eichel.
No, that's with Jack Eichel. Well, with the 2 other guys too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So without Jack Eichel, they're $3 million over or $2 million over, whatever.
But those two guys you'd send down. I would think.
No, they'd be waived. Martinez would be waived.
Well, I mean, if you want Jack Eichel, I'm sure you don't need to have those 2 guys on your roster.
You're gonna move someone like Martinez, who's 5 point something million, and you're gonna pick up a guy who's $2 million.
Yeah,
you're gonna do what the Leafs did with Kasha, Bunting, and Camp. Right? You're gonna go. You're gonna find those.
Because I would rather have Eichel and a $3 million guy and just get rid of Alec Martinez. That that Patches is gone.
What happens next year when you bring Patches in?
Like you said, Vegas doesn't care.
You got to rejig the entire team. So that's what I mean. So my whole theory was prior to him going out with the wrist injury.
Well, next year, after this year, James, Riley Smith's making 5 and he's off the books. Matthias Janmark is making 2. He's off the books.
So it frees up enough room for
Braden McNabb 2.5 off the books, and a bunch of lower end guys that are making league min or less.
Yeah, but the other thing though too is you got to look at it is right now, because the big numbers you want to look at in their scenario is that if everyone's healthy, their projected cap hits $91 million. Now when you move into next year, if they don't win this year, they're still in that same boat where since they have Pietrangelo and those players, they're going to keep going for it. Well, you're going to run into the same spot Pittsburgh did, and now look at them. Mm-hmm. They get into the playoffs, but when you don't have the depth, you're not going to win. So Vegas has got to look at it as, okay, we got to make these moves smart. So as much as I know it won't happen, James' idea of moving Eichel might be a smart move.
I agree.
In the long.
I agree.
It's a smart move in the off season.
What?
Oh, off season.
No, they would do the trade deadline.
Because Pacioretty went down with the wrist injury, you don't need to move him.
Yeah, you can keep him.
He'll be held out easily until the end of April.
So
look at the Western Division. You put Jack Eichel on the Vegas Golden Knights, they have a solid chance of making the final.
Yeah.
They go in the West, and where I still believe Colorado can make that forceful push to that point. But the way that they've been playing, if they were to meet Vegas right now with a healthy Jack Eichel,
run them over.
They're going to be it's going to be. It won't be anything close. And that's coming from a Mavs fan.
Unless it's a fluke like they did last year against Montreal.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think if they have Jack Eichel,
they're a beast.
They are I want to say top 4 team, like quarterfinals.
I say top 3.
Sorry, semis. But I would say they are out of the West, the front runners.
I mean, your centers at that point, your centers are Jack Eichel, William Karlsson, Chandler Stevenson, and then Matthias Janmark. But like, that's a pretty good top 3 centers, man.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I'd actually put Janmark above
Stevenson.
Stevenson.
Yeah. Well, that's a good top 4.
Stevenson's just fast. Don't get me wrong. Stevenson's he's fast as as hell. Like, he's unreal that way. But Janmark's got more offensive output.
Okay.
Potential. I should put that as well.
I got a question for you guys then for this theory. So we spent before the podcast happened, and at the beginning of the podcast, the whole Eichel sweepstakes. We were talking, what does an Eichel trade look like? But we were talking injured Eichel with a lot of question marks. What does healthy Jack Eichel, say he comes back 100% and he hasn't lost a step? What does a healthy Jack Eichel trade look like?
2 firsts, a second, and a prospect.
But if you're Vegas, do you want wouldn't you rather have like dudes, like players?
What are you gonna fill up your salary cap?
I mean, that's like that's their style.
The issue is they can't add to their salary cap. That's why my whole theory of trading Eichel was they were already salary cap pushed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's why do you free up $10 million just to add a guy who's $10 million if you could trade him off and get a big future?
I was thinking more like not a top guy, but like a mid like $6 million guy and then prospects. So you get some cap relief and then you still get a good player.
But you still got to move $6 million. They were tight to the cap.
Well, no, like without patches, they have $6 million cap space.
Again,
add Martinez, right
now.
Take off Riley Smith.
Okay, add Martinez. How much is Martinez though?
5.2. Riley Smith's 5.
But you need both
next
players.
Year.
But Riley Smith, you have to re-sign.
But that's next year. That's not trade deadline.
We're talking right now, trade deadline.
That's why I was saying, like, with Patch already being out, if they move him, it'll be at the draft.
Yeah.
Right? They don't need to move him at the deadline. My original idea was move him at the deadline, but now you're moving Riley Smith as well, which means you have another spot.
No, you're not moving Riley Smith. Riley Smith's contract is done because he's only...
His contract's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you bring in a guy who's $6 million, you still need to find cap space.
Yeah, fair.
Or top 6. So, if I'm kind of with James, like, right now, if I'm Vegas, if you look at their prospect pool, it is horrendous. So if they don't win a cup within the next 2 years, that rebuild is going to be it's going to be another Buffalo situation.
Is it horrendous?
It's just for
really?
at least for a year or two, because they're going to have to build from the ground up.
That's if they ever go into a rebuild.
That's horrendous.
I can see Vegas. I can see Vegas never going into a rebuild
until they really suck.
Purely by signing mid-pack players and trading draft picks for big players.
If you start doing that, though, you're never going to build a team like that you can go up against. Like, the Leafs are putting together a prospect pool.
Can't.
Detroit's putting together a prospect pool. You're going to be this team that's going to sit midpoint, and you're just going to feed off. Like, at that point, what you're saying is you're going to feed off the tourist factor.
I mean,
they can win 70% of their games and be happy.
I mean, what they're doing now is working.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're only 5 years in. Five?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good sample size.
Going on 5 because it was 2017 they came in.
So wait till they're 10 years in. We'll see.
Yeah. This is an organization, like, I know, like, the Kraken just came in. Everyone's like, oh, the Kraken. I'm more interested to see how Vegas goes in the next few years.
I can't believe the Kraken. I thought the Kraken were going to be a mid-pack team.
No.
Second last in the Western Division.
We talked about it. We talked about it, like, but we didn't have a podcast at the time, but we talked about it. Like, they drafted really weird. Like,
they did not draft well.
No.
They drafted...
There was, like, at least...
For salary cap.
They did.
It felt like.
There was people that on the table that would have been like, yo, why are you not taking, like Max Domi? Why wouldn't you take Max Domi?
Did you see his season last year?
But it's still Max.
Why didn't they take Carey Price?
I wish they took Carey Price.
That's my question. Why didn't they take Carey Price? So they should have taken. But
There was a couple people they should have.
Dude, that could have been the smokescreen by Bergevin. Oh, Price is gonna be out till like April next year. All of a sudden, oh yeah, well he should, if he's healthy, it's gonna be like October. But then personal.
And then
But-
yeah.
But still, like the guy is now full practice with equipment,
Yeah.
and he's gonna join the team. I think January 4th for like actual practices.
Yeah. Hey,
Do-
I'm
do you-
excited to see him come.
Do you want to know what they have as their roster right now? Like, not a great roster, man.
Who are you talking Seattle?
So I'm gonna list off Seattle. Okay.
Oh, you don't have to go through the full roster. They are.
oh
weak.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna go off of who's signed after this year because most of their players are not signed after this year.
Well, and that's what they did
that's
though.
the tool.
They purposely did that so they can have a big. I bet you come the trade deadline, they sell off their team.
But do they
I
have
bet- I
prospects?
I bet you they do what Coyotes did. They sell off their team for draft picks.
Yeah, because
The next
the
thing
way
to
Coyotes
look-
do things is how you want to run your team, right? Follow the Coyotes.
Well, no. So
Wait,
the way
wait
that
till you see what the Coyotes do this offseason.
yes,
They
And
could potentially have Jack Eichel.
They could potentially not have a stadium.
They could potentially have Jack Eichel and
No.
Austin Matthews.
Okay, so one, Arizona's paid their bills. They're good. They're in the clear. Two, look at the list of UFAs coming up this summer, and you're going to see why Seattle drafted the way they did.
Big money, big contract.
There are still some
players.
good players that they didn't pick up. That it's like, why?
Oh,
There,
Hey.
but those players like Carey Price, who tie up $5 million or $10 million for 5 years,
boom.
right?
They still-
That's why they.
but-
that's
But they
True.
pick up Jordan
Yeah.
Eberle for 5.5, and he's like for how many more years?
yeah, but he's how old?
5.5.
31.
Exactly.
Yeah, a little higher. but he-
Eberle still will put up anywhere between 50 to 65 points. I'm okay with that draft pick.
Yeah.
He's a leader too.
He is.
He's played big games. He's played little games. He knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
He is, but like, man, you look at this draft compared to the Vegas draft. Seattle did not
Okay.
do as good.
Oh, Vegas did much. Vegas also did a lot of work around the corner,
yeah,
outside the draft.
Yeah, like Kraken
they
just
did
kind
a
of-
lot of, give me this draft pick.
Yeah.
I won't take that guy. I'll take.
Oh,
Like they
the
did a
side
lot
deals
of.
like
that Vegas made were phenomenal.
The amount of picks that they were able to get and then trade, like
it
they-
almost
they
seems
did
like
it differently.
it almost seems like the Kraken did this on like franchise mode in NHL 13, where you're really limited to what you can do, and all you can do is straight up trade. So they're just like, well, good enough. Whereas Vegas did all these different things. They got like, if you remember the Bluetooth phone that you would get when you get better and you get
Yep.
multiple ones. Vegas had like 6 of those things going. Where like
Oh, yeah.
Vegas had like the sad little Motorola flip phone, and that's all they had.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
but yeah.
hey, Motorola flip phones were friggin' unreal back in the day.
I had the
was
Razor.
my first
I had the
phone.
black Razor. That thing was mwah.
You know
I
what?
had the
We'll
you could
see.
pop
We'll
the blue front and put the gray front on. That was
Oh.
my first.
That was yours.
I'm old. I am old and I'm proud.
I had a black.
Okay, Brandon had a Nokia.
Yeah, I did.
thing went-
That was my
that
first
thing
one.
Went through hell and back.
It
and
was-
still worked.
Thing was unbreakable. The gray and blue one, right?
Chase, I remember there was one time. I forget if we were going to high school or back. We're at the back of the city bus, and like it was like the middle of the winter. So everything was snowy. Everyone had snow on their boots. Everyone's walking around. So the bus was just covered in stuff. Brandon knows what I'm about to say. Everything's just covered in water and snow and slush, and we're at the very back of the bus. And I don't know what happened, but the bus driver slammed the brake. Brandon's phone, sitting at the very back of the city bus, went out of his hands, hit the ground, slid about 10 feet,
Down the little
dropped
stairs.
down 2 steps, and went another 10 feet to the front. Like, just like a rocket out. He goes running down, picks it up, wipes it off, wipes it.
It's good.
Oh, it still works. We're good to go.
I remember our
Oh.
middle school also had like the big staircase. It's like 2 staircases, but they're made out of the concrete and they're like steep. And I remember hanging out the stairwell and just When I was finally
So what
done
you're
with it,
saying is
go ahead.
you were working with a brick, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, it was a Nokia. It was a brick. It's unbreakable. After the nuclear holocaust, the last things that are going to be left are the cockroaches and Nokia phones.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, remember the old LG rumors?
What do you mean?
Like it was the first one that you could turn side, or one of the first ones you turn sideways. You
Yes.
slide up your.
Yes.
So I got one of those.
Okay.
And it was starting to kick the bucket, so I couldn't see my screen anymore because there's so much water damage. Because it either was with me like when I was taking a shower, like in the bathroom when I was taking showers, or in my pocket when I was running around playing football. So my screen wasn't working, so I'd be walking down the hallways at my high school, and if someone sent me a text I couldn't see, I'd literally hit it off the locker, slide it up, my screen would start working again. And I sent the text, close it. And then one day my girlfriend's like, "What are you doing?" And so I showed her. I got a text. My screen went blank. Whacked it against my locker, split it up, showed her. And she looked at it and goes, "Get a new phone." No, it works perfectly fine.
Yeah. Now my battery dies. My battery dies after 4 p.m.
Yeah, but back then the battery would last you like 2 months.
Oh.
Do you guys remember having like text limits where it's like you get 50 text messages in a month?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 I
remember like
asked
when it
that
hit
every
500.
month.
When it was like you get 500 texts a month. I was like,
Dude, I had 50.
I don't know that many people. Thank you for the confidence.
I remember being in like grade 9 and I was talking to a girl and I was, 13. So I was like, oh my God, talking to a girl. And then I hit my monthly limit of 50 text messages. So I had to stop talking to her and I'm like, no!
Gotta be very careful in what you say. Everything was a paragraph.
The last message she sends is like, you want to go on a date with me? And I can't respond. Like,
Oh. The worst thing for me is because since I played like high school hockey too, is we're trying to coordinate rides. So like I went through like my dad, because it was your phone bill is like $75 over. I'm like, well, you work all the time, so I need someone to drive me to hockey. So like it was just like people was blowing up the phone like, okay, so carpool, who's driving today? And it would just go off. It was like an iMessage group chat.
Oh yeah.
The original version.
oh God.
Where you paid 50 cents per text.
Wow.
Man, we're aging ourselves quite a bit here, boys.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. Well,
what are we now? Tomorrow is New Year's Eve,
Yep.
so we'll say it's pretty much
4
January 1st.
months.
Give it 4 months, and this guy hits the big 3-0.
The man was around with Gretzky.
I watched Bobby Orr make
He
diving
trained
goal.
Bobby Orr.
I was the one that trained freaking Gump Worsley to make a couple of things, okay? Like, let's get this straight.
Wow.
Oh.
30.
Yeah.
30. Well, hopefully we're not in lockdown.
Well,
Don't care for lockdown. It's still going to be a party.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man.
Fair enough. Well, Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy almost New Year.
Not a whole bunch going on.
Nope. I will be staying in my house because my fiance is sick.
Yeah, have fun.
Yay. Maybe.
Have fun with that.
I'm wondering about this, guys. So I have an outdoor rink across the street from my house. I don't really know how to skate, and I've been trying to learn.
I've done it once before.
Yeah, I know you got. Yeah, I've seen. You're pretty good. You're both pretty good. I'm not.
We're okay.
I was my Tots, my fiance, recommended or had the idea that because I have a GoPro camera, I don't have a mount or anything for it, but maybe I can get one, and I could just when I'm out there trying to learn, just kind of videotape myself learning and putting it up on the Instagram of just me falling down consistently.
Do it.
That'd be fun.
I want to see it. I think I have a video of you.
We should, in North Bay.
Was it 2 years? It was 2020.
Yeah, in North Bay.
January 2020. We were up in North Bay playing like negative 20 degree weather.
We should post that on the Instagram. Who wants to see that?
2019.
No.
It's before COVID.
Yeah,
it was.
Technically, no, Brent. I think it was 20.
It was definitely before.
2020.
It was before
It was
COVID.
It was 2020.
Right before the lockdown.
We went to North Bay
Yeah.
during that, and then I went to Los Angeles the end of January.
And it was the
came back. Chase, your stag and doe was that
March.
year, which was also the same day Michael moved back from North Bay.
Mhm.
Right.
So it was
right.
that January that we did it.
Correct.
Yeah, 'cause-
Yeah,
Where's my
it
ex?
was cold, but it was a lot of fun.
Because I remember going to the bar, not wearing a mask.
Yeah. I
remember trying.
I kind of.
I remember getting to the bar.
Yes, and watching Conor McGregor fight.
Yeah. So you want to know how smart
We
James?
bet against him.
Yeah, you want to know how smart James and I are? We got there, watched the Leaf game, got hammered, and bet that Conor McGregor would win by submission.
We didn't even watch the Leaf game. They were losing to Chicago, nothing. And we ended up watching UFC.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And we just
And
got.
we bet all night long. We
Yeah.
bet we were gonna win that. We lost.
I
that.
don't think we won
Yeah,
one.
McGregor, we lost that.
Yeah, we're like, oh, McGregor, he'll win by I don't know, submission. And then we told people like,
Knockout.
are you fucking stupid?
First round knockout. We did with the one girl.
We did win that one,
50
yeah.
bucks on the girl. I don't
Hey,
know her
what?
name, but it was the only fight we won.
Good times.
Yeah. All right, that's all I've got, guys. I don't know about you guys.
I got a little.
There is.
Go.
You have.
Go ahead, Chase.
So last week, Brandon brought up the question to me: if since Owen Power didn't sign, with Buffalo right away and went back to Michigan, is there a chance he could re-enter the draft? So I talked to my brother because he is the encyclopedia of anything hockey, and that is North American and European. He's got everything. So the way that it works, so with Owen Power is the perfect example right now. And this is the same thing that happened with Blake Wheeler back when he was drafted by Arizona. As long as Owen Power does not sign and plays out all 4 years at Michigan University, he then becomes a free agent after his senior season. The likelihood of that, though, is going to be low.
Yeah, you might as well just stay in Buffalo.
Well, the other thing, too, is as a first-round pick, the bonuses and stuff like that, you might get more money out of it instead of becoming a free agent and signing somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, let's say if you're Shane Wright or Connor Bedard coming out of North America or even Europe, per se, if you were drafted by a team, they hold your rights until they tell you that they no longer have your rights. So, let's say... So, like, actually, a perfect example is Kirill Kaprizov. He was drafted by Minnesota and stayed in Russia for, I think, again, I don't have the exact numbers. I think it was 4 years, and finally signed and came over. If at any time in that 4 years, Minnesota could look at him and say, listen, like, we can't wait for you, so we are going to pretty much jettison you from our list of negotiations, then you become a free agent. So that's the same thing. So, like, if Connor Bedard next year or Shane Wright gets drafted by Arizona, doesn't sign, goes back to Kingston, or then goes to Europe, they hold his rights until Arizona says, you know what, screw it, we're not going to worry about contract negotiations. Then he becomes a free agent. Because that's what happened with Freddie Anderson. He was drafted 5th round by Carolina. 2 years later, they said, since you're not coming over yet, we can't wait. So you can go back in the draft. He did. 3rd round, he gets drafted by Anaheim, comes over. So that's how it breaks down. So if you're drafted from the NCAA, as long as you don't sign, you play your 4 years out. After your senior season, you become a free agent. If you're drafted from the CHL or Europe, you are held by that team until they say, nope, you're done. And then you become either a free agent, or if you're young enough, you re-enter the draft. So that's how the process works.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a long-winded explanation.
I did not
like the
know
runaround,
But I
but
appreciate
that's how everything will work down the road.
Okay.
If you have any questions on a guy like Owen Power. I don't think he will play his 4 years out.
No.
But the one thing that might hold them there is if Michigan stays as quite the powerhouse as they are right now, but usually you don't see that now. They'll jump over to maybe third year just because they want to get a little bit stronger, a little bit quicker, play against men, and then make the jump instead of the guys coming from the O that play against their same age, and all of a sudden now they're playing against 26, 27, 28-year-olds.
Yeah.
Where the NCAA, you're playing anywhere between 18 to 22, 23, depending eligibility, red shirt, all that kind of garbage.
Yeah, because
That's all, that I wanted to touch on that, just so everyone got the clarification.
Yeah. Well, I was actually maybe he'll go play in Buffalo next year because I actually was going to bring this up as a fun little thing. Is there anyone on, because we all play fantasy together? Is there anyone that you've picked up that has just been like picked up that no one picked up, like free agency kind of thing? That's just been a surprise, awesome pick. Because I got mine and he's on Buffalo.
Who's yours, Brandon?
Tage Thompson.
Okay.
He's got 12 points, 8 assists in 31 games.
Yes.
He's pretty sick, man. Just a young dude.
Chase, you go next.
Holy shit! Sorry, before you go, he's 6'7"?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Big.
Oh my
He's
god!
a big boy.
Holy shit! Why is it? He's a 6'7", 218-pound right winger.
Yeah. That's like the big thing about him.
In fantasy, he's a center, left, and right wing.
Yes, he is.
So for me, my two were Andrew Kopp from Winnipeg and Ryan Hartman from Minnesota.
You took Kopp from me.
Hey, you didn't take him. I took him. His
I
face
know.
on the center, I think he's the center left or center right. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so mine are. So I don't know the games played, so I'm just pulling it up right here. So I have 3 that I've picked up off free agency that have turned out pretty well for me. One is Jack Hughes.
Jacques
playing for New Jersey.
Hughes. Jacques Hughes.
Sorry?
Just Jacques Hughes.
So he's got 14 games played and 11 points. So nothing too spectacular there. I also picked up Trevor Zegras, who has. And I picked him I picked him up early.
Oh, you picked him before the goal?
Oh yeah. I've had him for probably 6-7 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had him for a while. So I had him while he had that. So he's got 25 points in 30 games. And the other one I have is Lucas Raymond with 28 points in 31 games. So I'm happy with these 3 guys.
well, Lucas Raymond will probably be the Calder Trophy winner if it's not Trevor Zegras.
I have both of them. So.
Yeah, so you're solid.
Well, you know what? Who's the defenseman on Detroit? I had him. Sider?
Yeah, Maurice Snyder.
I traded him in fantasy. I traded him for Riley. You know how good Riley's doing?
Yeah.
He's doing well, but it's one of those things where Snyder, you could have. It's a bold move. You could keep him. He'd be a good keeper because he's gonna be nuts the rest of his career.
The reason I made the trade is I needed a Toronto player to cheer for on my team.
Fair.
And at the time, I had just traded, or I just dropped Jake Muzzin, so I had needed someone.
Yeah, Mussin's been brutal this year.
That's I dropped him, and I was like, I need someone threw a trade at me, Riley for Sider. So I took it. Morgan Riley has 26 points in 30 games.
Yeah.
Sider has 21 in 31.
Yeah.
So
Was that Iceman?
No, it was
Wasn't it?
Joe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Joe
like,
in first place.
that
Threw that
trade
trade at me like probably 3-4 weeks ago, and I agreed to it because my
Sider
team
was
is
on-
pretty stacked, and I wanted a Leaf player to cheer for.
well, Sider went on like a week uptick, and that's when I'm pretty sure the trade happened. And then Riley just stayed steady.
Well, I had Sider during the spike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So his numbers looked really good.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is I know where James is coming from because, what was it, week 3?
No.
I made a trade with you to get Cale Makar.
I don't even think. I think it was week 1.
It was week 1? Yeah. So
maybe week 2.
Week
but
2?
I'm pretty sure it was within the first. It was right off the bat.
I drafted Mikko Rantanen because, well, why not? And then I had the chance, and James wanted to make a trade. So, like, for me, Cale Makar is my boy.
So
and then
traded.
Cody, then someone dropped Kadri when he got hurt. So I was like,
know.
Why not? Let's add him to the squad.
And I
know exactly where you are with that.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I am done. That's all I've got to say. That's it for this week for me.
Yeah. Last little thing here is we actually have some Leaf games next week. Or
this week.
This week. We have, before our next show, we got the Senators at Maple Leafs, and potentially, depending on when we record next week, Oilers at Leafs, Wednesday at 7.
Those should both happen with 1,000 people in the crowd.
Yay.
Great.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I got one stat check quickly. James, you said in that shortened season for Chicago, they had 36 wins?
It was somewhere. It was like 36 or 34, 8 and 7 or something like that.
Oh, you know what? I'm very impressed because they were 36, 7 and 5.
Yeah.
You have that season pretty much down to a T.
How stupid is that of a team?
Yeah.
In a 48 team season, they only lost
7 games.
on 7 games.
They lost 7 games in regulation.
That's 14 points they lost out on, and that's
that was the best hockey team I've seen play.
Better than Tampa in their first cup run? Or is it?
Yeah.
Which one was the one where
I'm talking about the season, Brandon. I'm not talking about the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about. Didn't Tampa had? Oh my God! Maybe it wasn't one of the years they won? Was it the year they lost in like round 1 where they had like an immense amount of points, like crazy amount of points?
Yeah, that was the year they got swept by Columbus.
Yeah, and they had a crazy amount of points that year. Like everyone was just like, yeah, they're the best team in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, but it was like I said, it was the fact in that Chicago went like 18-0-2 to start the season, or something like that. 18-1-2 or something like that.
Yeah, so it was the 2018-2019 season Brandon's talking about, where Tampa went in an 82-game season, went 62-16-4 for a grand total of 128 points.
Pretty good.
Wow.
But Chicago stayed dominant through the entire season.
And won the Stanley Cup that year. So that's what I mean. Like, you look at the big picture, they were insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little side note before we go. Patrick Laine's playing in his first game, and he's got a goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for him. He needs it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. We'll have some games to talk about next week. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas from last week. Happy holidays. And that's it. We'll talk to you guys next record next Wednesday. Talk to you guys next Thursday. Have a great night.